Phones away, notebooks out, minds open, please. So, today I'm just gonna introduce everyone to you guys. So obviously, like we spoke before, this was planned like on the cuff on Monday. So what's happening now is actually a benefit to you guys as well. So I'm just going to introduce what we're going to do and introduce who's also going to teach you for today. Okay. So this is Cindy. She is our survivalist facilitator. She will take you through the ins and outs of survival and also of foraging as well. Okay. This is Chef Zen. He is the brainchild of it. He came to me and told me I didn't even think about foraging in our curriculum, but he is also trying to spearhead this whole foraging in the curriculum of both Cooktastic and other schools like us as well. Okay, and over there we have Mark, and over here obviously Chef Sebastian as well introduce himself, but they will obviously introduce himself more in depth. Okay, so can we please give everyone a round of applause for all the efforts, or snaps, whatever, round of applause, snaps. Okay, Cindy, you can go for it.
Hi everybody, so I'm Cindy, and I'm here to teach you survival skills. Now you would be wondering, why do you need to know that? Because you don't know where you might end up one day. You might want to go work on the ships in other countries and so forth, and they might have certain requirements, even if you're in your own little home situation. I mean, COVID taught us a lot that anything can happen and you need to be prepared. So we realize that cooking is not only about cooking. You need to understand at a grassroots level how things work, so that that can also inform your costings. And for example, if we look at COVID and certain shops closed and you couldn't go and get what you needed to do, what do you then do? You need to be able to think out of the box. You need to be able to see and understand what is around you, so that you can see what you can make. So this method is called the ABCD method. It means asset-based community development. So it basically is telling you to use what you have, even if you think it's nothing, to make something, and eventually start a little business from that nothing. So it's helping you to identify simple things that you took for granted every day that you can actually use to start a business at the end of the day. But for these purposes, it's a long-dated process. But for these purposes, we are going to teach you the basics of survival. So there's lots of things that it encapsulates. But today we're going to cover how to make a fire, survival fire. I'm going to show you two different techniques. And then we're going to show you how to just basically filter water, any dirty water, so that it is potable. And that means you can drink it. And then we're going to talk about the foraging, the vegetables that you can use, the plants that are edible and so forth. And then also what is in the sea that you can then forage and use as well. Because remember, the whole point of this is to see what you have and what you can make from it. So basically you'll be making something out of nothing, which itself is a survival skill. And I'm sure all of you want to learn that, because when you go home, you must be able to look around you and start identifying simple things that you took for granted that you can now start using and making something out of nothing. So don't let your circumstances, your situations, your backgrounds, or anything like that, where you come from, impede you and your growth. Don't let anything stop you. They said, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So that's the concept behind what is going on here, is to teach you how to become sustainable in every possible way. So yes, it touches on lots of different things. Not just will it improve your knowledge, your survival skills, your expertise, but it will also help you to cut costs drastically. So we did send a little homework for you to do. I hope that you did do some research along those lines. And as we move through the different processes, I would like you to please ask questions, or if I ask questions, you should be able to maybe answer me. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to filter water. So we're going to need one of this, and we are going to use this, and then we're going to use the things that were around here to filter water. And I brought dirty water from home that we're going to filter, and eventually we're going to boil it and use it sometime also during the process. So firstly, who knows what this is? Yes. That's correct. This is cattail. The name that we know is bulrush. So bulrush you find at any place where there's a little water. So basically bulrush, it grows in these reeds where there's any little bits of water that actually purifies the water that is in the area. So it detoxifies the air as well, and the water and the environment around it. So it's completely environmentally friendly, but the whole part of the plant is edible. So you can eat every single part of the plant, but there are also other uses that you can use it for. So like for instance, this part you can grind down and you can make flour to bake and so forth. And then the rest of the plant, the stems and the roots, you can also then cook the middle part of the plant, the inside of the stem. It becomes like a udon noodle. Is that how you say it? Udon noodle. So that's the texture of the inside, but it tastes quite nice. So for today's purposes, we are going to use this for both the water filtration and for making your fire. So how we do this is okay, so we're going to cut your bottle. You're going to cut your bottle around here, okay? Because this part you're going to use to put the water in to filter it, and this bottom part you're going to use to capture the water that is being filtered. Okay, so if you look at the normal Sprite or Coke bottle, they already have these ridges. So you can just use the ridges as a guide to show you where to cut. So we'll use the last ridge. And the knife that you use must be sharp enough. Okay, so that's going to be the basis where the water is going to filter into. Now this is what we're going to use as the actual filter. So there's two different ways to do it. I think I'm going to show you both ways. Just so that you can see how it works. Just pouring to keep it down, because it's quite windy. So if you have any questions, just ask me while I'm busy. Okay, so this one doesn't have ridges, but you can see more or less, let's go here by the top of the indentation. And please remember what I said, because I'm going to ask questions later around survival, why you need to do it, so okay, so for the one we're going to use the bulrush, and we are going to cut charcoal over there at the back. So you can use, make sure that it's the powder and not the briquettes. Okay, don't use these. Purify. So charcoal is an adsorbent. That means that it acts like, you know, when something is absorbent, it absorbs into it. Okay, but adsorbent, which is with the D, means that it sticks on like sellotape. Stuff stick on there. It doesn't go into it. So charcoal has millions and trillions of different facets, like a diamond for each grain. So toxins and things like that stick onto each of those grains and it stays there. So when you have poisons like alcohol poisoning, you've been bitten by a snake, any type of toxin, you just drink activated charcoal, because that's put through a special process and you can buy it at the chemist or Clicks or so forth. And that's actually what they give in the hospital, is activated charcoal if you have alcohol poisoning or any type of poisoning. So charcoal, if you have like a tummy bug or something, you just put a little bit of activated charcoal in a glass of water and you drink it down, and it will absorb all the toxins in your body. If you also want to detox, you can do that. So charcoal is necessary for any water filtration. Also, when they make air conditioning units, water filtration units, they always have a layer of charcoal in there as well, because of its purpose that it's used for. Now, the reason why you mustn't use the briquettes if you're going to be filtering is because the briquettes are made of toxic chemicals. Okay, so you don't want that to taint your water or your food or to ingest it in any way. So rather only use the wood ash, because wood ash is organic, natural, so it won't be harmful to your body. Charcoal also absorbs moisture and water, so you can use it if something is wet and you need to dry up an area or something. You can put a little ash there and it will also just absorb the water. Charcoal can also be used to light a fire. So if you put a little bit of charcoal in a piece of cotton wool and you close it up and you roll it vigorously, maybe with a piece of wood over it, it will then start to smoke and then start to ignite. So these are the benefits of charcoal, and it's essential for any survival situation, because 9 out of 10 cases there will be ash somewhere because somebody made a fire for something. Or even if you made a fire, the ash that remains, don't throw it away. Always keep it, because you can use it for these very things. Okay, so it's very important. So you will now put ash everywhere and then you will start filtering. So this is a very rudimentary, let me just put some grass there also. Because any little thing that can help the filtering process, use that. So there are quite a few different techniques that you can use to filter water. This is just one of them. If we have another session, I'll show you some of the others. It's always good to know very different ways, because you don't know what type of situation you find yourself in or what is around, because the same things are not always around all the time. So you need to be able to identify what you can use for the same process. Okay, and you're always going to need clean, potable water. But remember, you have to boil it afterwards. Okay, so we'll let, sorry, some of this fluff is in there. just watch that filter through. Oh, I threw a bit too much sand in. But also the charcoal is filtering that, so some of the charcoal will also filter through. I didn't put enough of this, I see. I should have put a little more. But the point is, this water is drinkable once you boil it by the fire. Okay, now the second one I'm going to show you is we're going to do normal layering. So you can use any type of cloth that you have, even a sock or a t-shirt or something. So you take an elastic band and you will put this, because this will be the final thing. So like the bulrush is the end point that filters, does the final filtering. This will do the final filtering. So again, it's just different techniques to see what you can use at home, because not all is lost if there's no clean water coming out of the tap. You now know two different ways that you can actually purify water to use it for cooking and to use it to eventually drink. Okay, so then you will need the firstly, this is fine sand, so you must try and get as fine sand as possible. I think I'm first going to put charcoal again. I brought some wood ash also from home, just to be sure. And then we'll put the fine sand. But if you don't have charcoal, fine sand, you can use that. The only fine sand we could find was wheat. So that's it, with wheat. And then you layer it. And we couldn't find gravel, so we used this Cedar's gravel, the little sandstones and seas, shells and things like that. The most important thing is that you need to have layers, because you need the filtering process. It's like when there's a river. The water stays pure because of the different filtering, the stones and the things that it goes through. The sand helps it filter, the stones helps it filter. All the stuff in the river, while it's flowing, actually helps to filter the water. So it's about creating that type of thing in your filtering process. And then you can put more sand. So even if you don't, oh, this wind. Sorry. So even if you don't have all the ingredients, try and make as many layers as possible. But as long as there's charcoal involved, you will get the proper filtering. But if you don't have charcoal, these are the different methods that you can use. Oh, thank you. And obviously the more layers that you have, the more it will filter purely in terms of see-through water. But again, doesn't mean that this is not potable water. It's just because of the sandy and the charcoalness, and the bulrush has a color to it also. So that is why it's looking like that, and this should look a bit more pure, but we'll see. Okay, so those are two different techniques of how to filter and purify water. Any questions?
Sorry, can't you drink the water since it's already purified without boiling it? Remember, like we're doing it for survival. Maybe there won't be time to actually boil the water.
Yes. If you do that, make sure you have as many layers as possible, because the more layers, the more it can filter and purify better. So you want it as purified as possible. So yeah, then you need to like maybe stack it up till here with layers, you know, and make the layers thick. So this was just demonstration purposes, and we just quickly took what we could find around here, because the aim is to look around in the area where you are and use what is there.
Maybe we should just explain what layers you can put in it. What other layers you can put.
Okay, so if you at home, there probably wouldn't be a lot of sand and these types of things if you're living in the concrete jungle. Then you would use cotton wool and like mimic what these layers represent. So think of this bulrush, it's like a cotton woolish type of thing. So you would think of, okay, what can I use that will mimic that type of thing? And cotton wool would do that. So you would put cotton wool there. If you have charcoal, try to always have charcoal in your house, because it helps with all kinds of sicknesses, ailments, everything. It absorbs all toxins. It's antimicrobial. Antimicrobial is any microbe that causes sickness or disease or anything. That is what it combats. That's what it fights against. So it will filter and absorb any little thing. Can you see the two differences? Because there was a bit more layering here than there was here. But that's the concept. So the more you layer, the more pure the water will be. So then if you can find stones, like any types of stones, you can use that as a layer. Preferably try and find sand. If you don't have sand, you can use something that maybe looks like sand, you know, that's grainy or something like that. Even powder, you know, you can use whatever's in your house that mimics this type of thing. That is what you can use.
Can you actually drink the water without you filtering it? First boil it, then without the filtering
Just boil it.
process.
Just boil it. Can you just boil it?
Boil it, just
And
boil
then
it,
drink it.
then
What water?
The dirty water.
the dirty
No, I wouldn't say that. Do that, because boiling doesn't always ensure that all the toxic chemicals is out, because you don't know what is in that water. Whereas tap water is easy to boil, because you know there's not a lot of chemicals and toxins in there. But you don't know what could have leached into the water. It could have been cyanide, it could have been very poisonous stuff that's in the water that you're finding. So you don't want to just boil it. And even when you do boil it, you still need to add like a bit of jig or something to purify it, to drink it. If you're going to take water from whatever's laying around. So, yeah, bleach. So, whatever is, rather try to just do the layers. It is very important that you do the layers, because the layers actually help absorb and take out all the different types of toxins that there possibly can be. So when this water comes out, you know, as the majority of the toxins is gone, now you can just do the final product of boiling the water, and you know you can now drink it. But it's very important to purify. Always try and have gravel or a big stone or something, and a fine stone or something that's fine, and preferably always try to have charcoal on you in your little first aid kit, or However, always have charcoal. It's very important because it has multiple uses. You can save a life. Like if you bit by a snake or something, it can also have charcoal. So it's very important to always carry activated charcoal, not just charcoal that you grind, especially if you're using the briskets and all of those things. Okay, so any other questions? You understand the purification process? Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to do two different fire settings. The one is that I'm going to show you how to do a Dakota fire. Now, Dakota fire is where you dig a hole in the ground and you dig another hole to bring the air in so that there's no smoke, sorry. Because if you're in a survival situation, maybe you're on the run or something, you don't want people to know where you are, but you still need to keep warm and you still need to cook and all of those things. If you do a Dakota fire, there will be no smoke. Okay, so you dig down about half an arm's length down, little round. You can decide how round you want it to be, and then you dig a little passage to the side as a vent, because that will bring in the fresh air and stoke up the fire more, and it will take out the smoke and so forth, or neutralize the smoke, so to say. So that is the Dakota fire that we're just going to quickly show you. We're not going to do the actual fire because we're not allowed to make fires on the actual beach. And then the other one, we're just going to show you how to make fire lighters if you don't have briquettes and stuff. And then we'll just use that to get the fire going for the main men, to show you how you're going to cook and so forth. Okay, so let's go down to the beach quickly and show you how to do the Dakota fire.